Joining me still on the Edo School Resumption Deferment is an educationist, Osagie Godsent Erunse. Thanks for coming, Osagie.
Thank you, Phil. My pleasure again. Good morning, viewers.
Osagie Godsent Erunse is the president or is the chairman, Edo State, of Association for Formidable Educational Development, AFED. And still, I have the social media influencer on politics and governance, Jack Obian. Thanks for staying with me.
Thank you very much. Good morning once again, everyone.
A lot was said by Bishop Ohisi Manuel concerning the need for the government to bail out or find a way to reduce the burden on schools. I think that's sensible. The global system is doing it, so what's different in Edo State?
Of course, I mean, I believe that Edo State will not be different. In fact, the systems are already there. I mean, for example, I'll just give an example. This year, there is going to be declaration of income for 2020 in talking about tax.
Okay.
Right? Of course, it will be noticed that because of COVID-19, all of the lockdowns and everything, there was tremendous dwindling of downward of income last year for proprietors of schools and all of that, and all this is definitely affects their management and the payment of staff and the entire management of the schools.
Have you been part of the meetings where this was discussed by the state government, where all of this will be addressed?
No, but I know, understanding, I've been, working with Governor Obaseki for the last 4 years.
Yeah.
And of course, he's a financial management expert. I know how he would react and how the government he presides over will react to such. So the most important thing is that they were tax compliant last year. Nobody evaded tax. They paid up to date and everything as much as they could.
Even last year was 2020.
Last year, because if we're talking anything you're talking about
so schools, yes,
or waivers,
yes,
you'll be talking about what happened the previous year,
yes,
not what's happening now.
So
they would, after the declaration and everything, they will obviously make a case. I mean, the cases are already naturally there, even in the forms that you fill.
Okay.
To make your declaration of income and expenditure, etc. So they're already there.
So are you saying by this that there will be a tax break?
Are
you saying there may be a tax break or a reduction?
It's possible, very possible.
Okay.
Or at best or at worst, a reduction or some kind of, but they will have to request for it. If you want a tax waiver anywhere in the world, even abroad, even all of these countries that are implementing it, you would have to apply for it. You have to write for it, and you have to give your reasons why you are requesting for it.
Okay.
You have to substantiate it. Yeah?
Thank you. I'll come back to you. You are the chairman of Edo State chapter of AFED. And let's look at what your grouse is concerning low-cost schools, or, if we like, medium-cost schools. What do you think is the challenge faced in Edo State?
Anyway, if you are to look at it critically, you discover that low-cost school in the educational sector is about the worst or the most hit negatively, because by the name low-cost schools, we are not the very exorbitant private schools. Be that as it may, why the safety and the health of the average Nigerian and Edo State child should be paramount, we felt that the government did not really do a robust consultation. There's something about, before you take a decision, meeting with various stakeholders.
You mean as it relates to the deferment of resumption?
Yes, to the deferment of resumption, precisely. We are concerned about our children. And that's the reason why, part of the reason why we are appealing and saying to the government of the day, because we know Obaseki is a lover of education. For me, I fell in love with him on his first campaign before he became the governor for his first tenure. I was in one of his public meetings where he said, if you give me 100 naira, I'll spend about 60, 80 naira on education.
Okay. So
for me, that was where he won my heart.
Has all that changed?
Now.
Has all that changed now?
It may not necessarily have changed,
okay,
apart from the fact that it is important you take people's views into consideration. We call it a robust view before arriving at a decision. Why the medical associations have their own role to play, since this is a pandemic. People that are the fit players especially in the private sector, also have an update, you know, advice and view about
okay,
the
but do you
scenario.
seek the attention
Like,
of the state government in this regard? Because
relate-
it's not just
of
for
course,
you to say
of
that
course.
you should seek the opinion or seek the larger views. But
On several occasions, for example, my association related with the PS, and the same with
So
my
when you
other
say PS,
sister
when you say
association.
PS, is it on health?
No, the permanent secretary of Ministry of Education.
Ministry of Education.
Yes, to be precise, you know, that is our ministry. And the same with my colleague in APSIN and ABS. Now, part of the, you know, consensus we had going was that we were going to follow the directive from the federal government. Edo State was going to most likely follow the directive from the federal government, only for us to have a shock. And you should also be aware that quite a number of states have already opened up for academic activities. Now, part of the reason why we are advocating that the date shouldn't have been postponed, or there should not be a further postponement.
but do you understand that? But do you understand that this is a second wave?
Let me
do
give
you understand the
Yes.
nature of the variant?
we
Could that not be
understand-
the reason why the governor did it?
This is my point. That's where I'm going to actually feel. The children you are talking about are safer in school than at home.
Okay, but
I will give you my reasons. Let me learn. For example, even UNICEF, I've also on several occasions advocated this. For example, as we speak currently, there's hardly a child that is not attending one lecture house or street lecture or the other. You know, I said this during the first wave, and you are a media person. You are free to go to the street and make your investigations. A number of Edo State child are not sitting at home as we speak. And the danger is this. We are looking at this whole issue holistically because we have a heart for our children, just like the governor also have a heart. The children are more at risk because where they are going for these so-called lectures, in every street corners, there are 1 or 2 persons gathering children and giving out lectures. The same thing with lecture houses. As we speak, lecture houses are running. And these are institutions that are not licensed legally.
Oh,
and
no,
they are
no,
not
no, we can't go
strictly
there.
monitored.
We can't go there. We can't go there, please. We can't go there. I think I don't have the right panelists to discuss that.
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
No, I am only trying to bring
Okay.
a point. The point I'm trying to bring is that from our own point of view, the children are more at risk not being in school.
Okay.
That
I'll
is
come
my
back
analysis.
to you.
Okay.
What do you have to say over
No,
what he
I'll
just said? concerning-
when he said that there had to be consultations and all of that. Normally,
Yeah.
under normal circumstances, there needed to be consultations and all of that. But here's the problem about this second wave of the virus. It did not even announce itself. Okay? The events just started unfolding and unfolding. All of a sudden, you could see what was, you understand what's happening worldwide. You can see how Britain is under lockdown, how even countries all of a sudden started announcing suspension of flights and all of that. If you don't take proactive action, it just takes a little mistakes here and there, and then we enter.
Okay, but we had
total
a
state of
situation where,
emergency.
Jacobian, we had a situation where even the governor had a meeting with some religious leaders.
Thank you.
In that regard. Wouldn't that have been done also for
Thank you,
school for educationists?
Yeah, the thing is, that of the religious leaders, there was already that plan for them, and the guidelines and everything was up there. And you see, there's a
you say there was that plan?
There's a little bit of difference.
Okay.
You know, there's the list of guidelines
Okay.
already established for religious centers, even with the first wave, and it's practically the same thing for the second wave. Just is that the second wave this time around now includes the fact that children from 12 and below should not just attend any kind of
We're saying the same thing. In as much as there was a guideline
now you
plan
can't do
for
that
religious
for
leaders,
schools.
shouldn't have that also been for educationists?
Yeah, you can't. Like I said, I just mentioned something. The critical difference here is children from 12 down can't even go to church or anywhere. I mean, you cannot attend any of these church services or mosque or whatever. Can't go there. They should stay at home. It's just clearly stated there. If they are found, then their parents or guardian or will be arrested. It's just what it is. But now, you can't do a stay at home for schools for a certain number of children within an age group. So it's a different scenario.
Okay, so that
totally
makes it
different scenario.
that makes it
so that's
unique
why,
to
and
look at.
because of the unprecedented and sudden development of this second wave, so the governor thought, okay, the best thing we should do, because we are not talking about hundreds of people, we're talking about thousands and thousands and thousands of persons. So let's just push this thing forward a little bit.
Okay.
And then get things properly organized, because no matter what we all say, health is wealth. Health should be prioritized over anything else. Who is sick will not be able to attend school. You know that. You get
Okay.
what I'm saying? So it's just a few days we are talking about. We are not saying school is postponed for a resumption. It is postponed for months. It's just a few days. It's less than 2. It's about 12 days. From
about 12 days.
20. It's about 12 days where all of these things
Let's see
properly arranged. And then those who are not prepared, not everybody is prepared. It's very difficult for everybody to be prepared. So those who are not prepared will now have the time to be prepared and start up on the 1st.
I raised the issue to Bishop Emmanuel Ohis over the preparedness of even your schools, you know, to resume, because we have the second wave. We have the COVID-19 variant, which should be paid much attention on. How ready are your schools?
Okay, thank you. Let me quickly say this. You see, it is important the government itself do not give us an impression that probably COVID-19 is just surfacing. Even though we are talking about the second wave, it's been there. We have been battling with this pandemic since March last year, when the school was first, when schools and things were generally shut down. So it's not something that is just surfacing. What I mean is that between March last year and now, preparation has been going on. Why were we able to resume and manage our own situations as private schools in Edo State? In fact, it was even on news and on air on several occasions.
Okay.
A lot of these private schools, we ensure that they were fumigated, even with government-accredited agencies. I think the issue of preparedness should be put more to the government than the private schools, with all due respect. Because the governor have also said that they need this period to put one or two things in order. But when we start wondering, is it the 2 weeks we now need to put things in order?
Okay, what's your appeal for the government to do in this regard?
Number one, the government should please ensure that the February 1st resumption date, there is no further deferment. For so many reasons. Like I've said, one of the reasons, our children are more exposed.
Do you know the fear? Do you know the worry that? Do you know the worry that it may also be extended?
You said yes. I know the worry, because if you look at the government statement, it said depending on the circumstances. It really didn't say point blank it must be open. It said depending on unfolding situations.
So it didn't say the date
now
was
we are
sacrosanct.
not. We are trying to say what? No, it was not emphatic. It is on head. But what we are also trying to appeal is this. You see, like I said before, as we speak right now, a lot of our children are in the market. Some of them are even hawking. As we speak right now, a lot of our children are in churches. A lot, even children are 12 years and below 12. Now, what we are looking at is a history from March till date. It's easy for somebody to wake up and say, it's just 2 weeks postponement. Come on, you guys should relax. But let me also talk about another side of the story. Do you also sympathize? Do you also know what it means for a man and a woman that run the school to have been out of business for close to 1 year? I don't know if you understand that. So we are also calling for empathy from the side of the government. Edo State government, to be precise. Because when you talk about survival form, it's laughable. Because you check out the percentage of schools that I've gotten. In fact, I can't even count up to 5 schools that I've gotten in my own association. Private schools. I've only heard of 1 or 2. And with limitation on 6 staff, they can't afford more than 6 staff. Now, these are the issues. Now, somebody wakes up every day. He doesn't have a hope of having any source of income to cater for his family. But beside that, secondly, when school finally bans on, we start seeing all kind of levies agency. Apart from the taxes, we are talking about tax. We are not talking about the levies. Local government comes, this one come and say we are this, we are that, we are this. Everybody is interested in taking their pay. But what we would have advised,
okay, what my
colleagues have said,
have you made efforts? Have you made efforts in interfacing with the ministry? We have made
several efforts. We have written several letters to the state government. And part of what we are saying is that our governor is somebody we are so proud of. During the past election, we threw our weight 100% behind it. There's nothing wrong with giving a face-to-face attention to private schools, because you should also be aware that private school account for the largest number of children population in Edo State in school compared to the public schools. So now for you to take a decision, that level of sector in the educational sector should also be taken along. And beside that, you should also bear in mind that the moment school resumes, we are not going to recover immediately. There are a lot of school owners currently that are on loan for close to 1 year. Yes, on loan. I don't want to mention the names of banks, Phil. But if I tell you it's hell, nationally we have lost some private school proprietors to high blood pressures. You know, see, do you know what it means as a worker to stay for 10 months? Do you know the number of staff we have lost?
Thank you.
I mean, teachers. There are people over time that have gone. So the whole issue is quite robust and it's complicated. We are only appealing that a lot of these issues should be put in view before decisions are taken. And why we want to also assure the government that we ensure strict compliance to COVID-19 rules, because we care about our children. You know, and again, conclusively, the school is even a better platform for community awareness. Okay.
He said a lot. What do you see as the pullout that government should come into in this regard?
Correct an impression. You know, studies have shown that gathering facilitates the spread of the virus. So it argues against your opinion that children are safer in schools. They are only safer in schools where the environment strictly complies
to the
COVID-19 protocols.
Protocols. Then in that case, yes, you're right. So secondly, I would advise you that it's not only a thing about writing letters and all that. You have a right to call for a stakeholders meeting with government. It's your right. It's within your right. Do you know why? Because you guys are taxpayers. Am I correct?
Yeah, of course. Of course.
You contribute fundamentally to the revenue of the state.
Yeah.
So that gives you a right. That means you are even a part of governance.
Of course, of course.
So, needless, you've written enough letters and good enough that you have done that. You will now follow up that letter by calling for stakeholders meeting. And then you put all of this on the table and your
it's easier said than done now. You're just saying it. You're just saying it.
It's easier said than done.
You're just saying it. It's easier said than done. But yes. Look at ways in which the government can make a leeway.
Very well.
Look at ways in which the government can make a leeway, can make its policy more open in order for this meeting to really galvanize to a very result-oriented achievement.
No, you see, again and again, he even started and he even said it up to 2 or 3 times in the course of our conversation, that Governor Baseki is known to be passionate about education. Yeah. So when it comes to these issues about the education versus health care, it is very important, not just about writing like that. We sit down with government and talk about these things.
Yeah.
And that's one of the fundamental reasons why there was this time frame, this window of, okay, between the 18th and 1st, when you guys open, let's do all the cleaning up we need to do and all the sorting out of things.
But aside that, can't we get a forum where the state government will have to interface with the educationists?
Very possible.
You know, private schools, you know, discuss with them on how all of this can be achieved. Aren't you looking at that in the nearest future?
Why not? They're even listening to us right now. So we'll take it up from there, definitely.
Okay, your final words on this, Osage Godsent?
Simple. We are making an appeal that if other schools, other states can have confidence in their private schools to ensure strict adherence to the COVID-19 protocol within the school environment, the Edo State government should have confidence in private school owners in Edo State. We want to assure him that our school will be safe enough. And the government also have a right to have a monitoring team. I had some monitoring team that visited my school first time, and some other schools, and from the report we got, they were proud of what they saw. Okay, then secondly, we also want to call on the state government to show some level of empathy for school owners. A lot of us are fathers, we are mothers, we have children, we have responsibilities. Like I just said, for example, a lot of school owners are having high blood pressure because of bank loans.
All right, thank you.
And
you've articulated the point.
Ahead of this 18th January. Some school owners have also gone for that, even collected subload to make sure fumigation and other things are even put in place before the deferment.
Thank you, Secretary Gossens.
Then there should be tax waiver. Okay. There should be renewal waiver. Then WAEC issue should also be looked at. These are things you can do to also caution the effect that this unfortunate pandemic is having on us as private school owners.
Thank you. Jacobian, your final words in 1 minute.
Well, in 1 minute, 60 seconds, I'll just say the following. The governor is a listening governor. He is definitely most likely hearing what you are saying right now, and obviously things will be put in place. I know for sure that when the proprietors of schools and all that declare their income for 2020 and all of that, it will be clearly seen that a lot of them did not even meet up to a quarter of their expectations and all of that.
Okay.
And upon the basis of this, just like it's done everywhere in the world, they should apply for these waivers.
Okay, so we are optimistic that all of this will be addressed in the nearest
very
future.
sure.
Okay. That's much we can take on this discussion. Big thanks for taking our time to be part of it. It's still TMI Tuesday. Stay with me.